It's so nice to be here. It's so nice to be in this sea of like frizzy non-athletes. I feel unbelievably at home. This is wonderful. I feel like I'm with all of my family. It's great. That's my family. We're frizzy. We're not athletic. We're not like religious Jewy. We're like culturally Jewy. You know, we eat a lot of cheese, but we can't really handle it. You know, like guilty, dramatic. We like are always in constant communication, but no one's ever saying anything. It's like, what did you eat? Wear a sweater. I ate cheese. I feel terrible. It's like. And it's all the time. It's messages all day, every day, but no one's ever saying anything, right? And it's been like this my whole life. Just this obsessive communication and this obsessive, like, what are you doing? How are you doing? But we're not doing anything together and we're not really talking about anything, right? And then you feel guilty. You're like, I didn't say enough, but, you know, what are you gonna do? So when I was like 14, my dad's not Jewish business partner gave us the absolute worst Christmas Hanukkah gift that has ever been given. It was a trip to his timeshare in Telluride, Colorado, which for another family may have been unbelievably generous. For us, a family that didn't really have conversation about anything, spend any time together, or do anything remotely athletic or even physically active, this was the worst gift you could give us. So instead of taking advantage of it in the winter, which is when you would go to Colorado on a trip, to save money and to get a like summer vacay out of it, we went in July to Telluride, Colorado. Also to save money, my father booked us a trip, booked our flight to Denver instead of Montrose, which is close. Montrose is like half an hour away. Denver's like 9 hours away. And he rented us the smallest car. It was like a first generation Chevy Malibu. And of course, because we have no boundaries, we each packed like 4 carry-ons and bigger suitcases. So the car is completely stuffed, and we're driving for like 9 hours. I remember sitting and my knees were like by my chin, and I was just kind of cramped up because my suitcases were on the floor, and there was just this wall of luggage between my brother and we couldn't see each other. My mother, who I don't think has ever been out of the Northeast, is completely altitude high, which really, I guess it really fucks with you. She was demanding that we play Rocky Mountain High by John Denver on repeat. And she was demanding that she kept turning around the backseat being like, dance, kids, dance, we dance, we dance. And I'm very sensitive, and I'm just like, I don't want to dance. And my brother is in a full panic because we're driving on this curvy highway, you know, and just watching pebbles like fly off into the abyss. Like, we're gonna die on this cliff. And my father's just road raging, like, he's just like, Myra, why don't you shut the fuck up? We're on a family vacation. You know. She's like, Andy, let me express myself. Rocky Mountain High. And it's just like already the worst trip ever. We get to the Franz Klammer Lodge, which is, of course, this like gorgeous place that's named after this famous skier that none of us had ever heard of. And we walk in, it looks just like a dead ringer for the Sound of Music set. It's gorgeous. I mean, and the people there are just stunning. Blonde and lanky, and they looked like I was in a polo ad, you know, and we were just fucking walking in there with like our best dress sweats on. Our luggage has like, you know, duct tape around it. We were like ketchup on a polo ad. It was like real, we just stood out and we're uncomfortable, but we check in, it's all good. The room is unbelievable. 4 separate rooms, amazing. Literally, even my parents took separate rooms. Separate bathrooms, separate rooms. We all had our laptops, so we were luckily in constant communication. But I swear to God, for like 4 days, we didn't leave the suite. It was the most luxurious, it was a palace. To sit in a bathtub and not be connected to anyone I know, except my boyfriend, who I was just Nokia texting, you know, crazy, was unbelievable. I don't know where the shift happened, but on our last day of the trip, maybe he had talked to his partner or something, on the last day of the trip, my father announced that we were gonna have a family day. Okay, we're gonna have a family. We had never had a family day before. We have had a lot of family dinners, but never a family day. And so he decided that we were gonna go to lunch and shopping in town. He also planned, I'm not gonna go into it because I don't have that much time, but let me just tell you, he did plan a horseback riding trip, which was adorable in theory, but he booked us, for some reason it was like a pony horse ride. So they were all small horses, and I have very overweight parents, and it was, we don't need to talk about it, it was just like not fun and not funny, and just... So whatever, that was our big activity, and we're walking back to the lodge, and we see this sign in front of this rafting shop. I guess we had missed it on the way down, and it said free rafting trips, right? Well, because the horses were such a fail, I think my father was like, this is it, like a sign from God, I will redeem myself, free rafting trip, right? And like, of course we can raft, and we see this little brook behind the street of you know, the main street or whatever, and he's like, we can handle that, we'll go on the raft, and it'll be just like a nice family day, and this will be the bomb, and everyone's gonna be happy, and we're gonna be a family for this one afternoon. So we go in, and they're like, okay, so you're super beginner, we can already tell. Instead of putting you on rafts, we're gonna put you on these sort of inflatable little duckies called Fun-Yaks. Fun-Yak. The fuck is a Fun-Yak? He's like, they're super safe, just for beginners. You guys are gonna love it. So we're like, okay. My mom and I are on one raft, my dad and my brother on the other. They kind of sail off into the horizon, and it looks like they're going okay. It's a little bumpy, but I'm like, my brother is just fucking around, right? And here my mom and I go. We have this sort of goddess Dawn who was sent to us, and she was gonna guide us down the river, and she was just some Aryan hippie granola kind of freak. And she, you know, she's like, I'll be right behind you guys. You're so safe. Have a great trip. She's like, here we go. So we're rafting, and it's okay, and it was whatever. I was assuming it was gonna be boring, because honestly, like, of my idiot family, I am the most, like, athletic and brilliant, and I could handle a rapid or two, obviously. But whatever, this is fine. I mean, it's kind of like an embarrassing stream. We could, like, see all of the, you know, the dumpsters behind Main Street, and it was like, you know, it was like laughable little river, but actually it was like a little, you know, we're going and it's a little bumpy, and my mother is she's like, woo, we're animals stand. She's from Boston, she has a thick accent, she's like, oh my God, I feel amazing, nature's amazing, or whatever, and I'm like, woo! Within like 40 seconds, we bump a rock, and this idiot loses her paddle, so the oar just flies down the river, and she's like, oh my God, I lost the paddle, we're gonna die, and I'm like, we're not gonna die, we're fine, and I'm just trying to, I'm like, I can paddle, I can handle it for both of us, I'm getting an unbelievable core workout, I'm just going, I'm going. It's a little bumpier now, it's actually a little bit uncomfortably bumpy, but it's fine, because actually, whatever, we can handle it, we're Jews, and we're tough, and we can do whatever we say we're gonna do. So we're just going, and we bump into another rock, and then my oar goes, and so we're just like, oh, okay, we're definitely gonna die here, this is the end. And this is it. But I've always been the adult in my family. So I'm like, it's okay, Mom. We're gonna be okay. It's all good. 4 seconds later, boom, another rock. We capsize. Boom. The raft, the Fun-Yak, the Not-So-Fun-Yak is just down the river. And I'm just lost. I'm in the water. I'm splashing around. I'm screaming for my mother. I can't find her. We're getting knocked around. This water is actually like really scary. It's a rapid. We're in a rapid, and all of a sudden, where's Dawn? Where's the guide? She's not even around us, and I'm screaming like, Mom, I can't find her. I just find this boulder to grab onto. Luckily, I found out she was alive right away, because like my hands and feet were touching her hands and feet, which if you can imagine us just around this boulder, and I'm just screaming, I'm like, it's gonna be okay, and I can't hear her, and I'm like, this has just been the worst trip I've ever had already. Where the fuck is Dawn? Probably maybe 7 seconds, which felt like 2 hours later, Dawn rolled up in her regular kayak. She's like, oh, hey guys, looks like you ran into some trouble on the big river, eh? Oh. I'm like, Dawn, help us! Help us! The hell? So Dawn just like parks her kayak, you know, and just like hops up onto the boulder and pulls me up, and she's like, are you okay? No one's ever capsized at this, you know, this early. This is unbelievable. then we hear my mother, and she's screaming, "I'm glad you're okay, Sa. I'm gonna die here, though, so just let nature take me. Let nature take me." And I'm like 14, I'm like, "No, Mom, this is not the end. It's gonna be okay. It's gonna be okay." I'm freaking out. She's like, "No, I know. God sent me here to die in this mountain. This is the end for me. Go on, tell Dad and Luke I love them." I'm like, "Stop. Pull it together." Dom's like, actually, this is you can just probably stand. It's actually like ankle deep. The water's just, it's pretty ankle deep. My mother's like, "No, I don't swim. I don't." John's like, "I actually think you're probably sitting." She's like, "I actually I think you're sitting in the water." She's like, "I'm not moving." I'm like, "Please, Mom, please." So, I mean, I couldn't believe how what's the word I'm looking for? She just was not being helpful at all, and so we're just like shimmying her up off this rock. I don't know, she must have literally been like, "No, no, no." I don't know why it was so hard. We had to pull her ass up onto the rock, and she's just laid out on this boulder. We were like working on her. She's just a beach whale on this boulder. Her sunglasses are just hanging off her face. And she's just like, "Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God." And I'm like, "Don't ever scare me like that again, Mom." And she's like, "I can't believe we're alive. I can't believe we've been saved. We've been saved. Oh my God." And Don's just like, "You guys are idiots." But meanwhile, my brother and my dad are rafting. I think they were bored. They were just like, "Whatever, this is kind of like a bullshit stream." But then they saw our, Fun-Yak go by, and my father freaked out. He's like, "Where is my family? I know that's their idiotic raft." It's funny, he'll always say, he's like, "I tried to park, I couldn't figure out how to park the kayak," and they had some guy, like Clay or whatever, and Clay's like, "Mr. Armour, just back paddle." He's like, "What the fuck is back paddle?" He's like, he pulls over. My mother and I hop off the boulder, and we had to like walk through these woods to get to this bridge that led us into town, and my dad and my brother were there, and they were meeting us, and it was great, and we were so happy to be back together. I can't believe we survived the river. It was like this huge deal. And it was actually this moment of reconnection that I don't think I had experienced at that point, of just being so happy to see my family, just so in love with them all of a sudden. And we went and we just got, I did plates of nachos, which didn't end that well, but it was worth it because we deserved it. And that was the last day of our trip. The next day, I think we did spend the evening that night sort of, I think we were on our laptops, so we were in the common room, which was nice. And the ride back wasn't so bad. I ended up sitting in the middle so that my brother and I could watch the DVD together, and my mom put on headphones, which was a gift to us all. And then nothing changed. We went back to home and everything was the same. We were the same sort of dysfunctional, chaotic, Jewish, kind of like mall Jew family after our wilderness adventure. But we did have a story that we shared and that we could talk about. We had something to talk about and to connect over, and sometimes that's enough. Thank you.